Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a review of a lunch I had with one of my subscribers in Hong Kong. This is a long-time subscriber. I've had a couple of meals with him, and this is one of the great benefits of the channel that I've got. I've gotten to meet a lot of wine lovers all around the world, including this gentleman. And I think we've developed a really good friendship. I hope he thinks that it's added value to his life, but I'm so thrilled to see him whenever he's in town in Vancouver and whenever I go back to Hong Kong. It's really fun, and he brought out a couple of his friends, and so a couple of us, there's only four of us, but we drank a lot of wine, and it was really fun. And one of the great benefits, again, when you drink with other people is that you see their wines, and there's a lot of wines in our tasting that we had that I would never kind of come across. So it was really exciting to taste it, and they're all great gentlemen, and we had a great time. And so that's really what wine's about, just meeting people, having a good time, and sharing your knowledge and your everyone's cellars. And again, when everyone just brings whatever they can, and it's really casual, and I really enjoyed the whole event. So let's go through the wines that we tasted. This is a short video of the wines, which is substantial. And so our first wine was really a great starter wine. This is Charles Heidsieck, 1983 Blanc de Millenaires champagne, and I've never had this. So this is, again, 1983 is a great vintage for champagne. This was a great bottle, and Charles Heidsieck, this is Blanc, it's a kind of Blanc de Blanc, so it's only made from Chardonnay grapes. The last 30 years, there's only been 7 vintages where this wine has been made, and I think 1983 was the first time that they made it. And so this is an exceptional wine. And what I found with what I really enjoyed about this is that a lot of older champagnes, you feel there's an oxidative quality to it that's almost like a creme brulee or caramel in this. This didn't have it. This was really, of course, it's aged and the wine looks oxidized in terms of the color, but it didn't have that oxidized taste of kind of a creme brulee or a creme caramel type of toastiness or carameliness. It didn't have that, and it was really neat in terms of the taste profile. It was just a very tart fruit, not overly acidic, but not an oxidative acidity, but it was really kind of the essence of really ripe fruits. So my notes on this was, I love the champagne. It's probably I think the wine of the night for me. Showed its age, but there was no oxidated acidity. I got tart apricots and pears with ginger on the aftertaste. Beautiful golden brown color, great viscosity, and a real intensity of flavors. My rating was 97 points. One of the gentlemen was an expert in New Zealand wines, and it was great because I'm not an expert. I don't drink a lot of New Zealand wines other than Sauvignon Blanc, and for him to be able to show me some wines that I'd never seen, it was just really great for my learning. So the next wine was the Gagliole 2016 Chardonnay. So this is real high-end New Zealand Chardonnay from the Canterbury area in South Island of New Zealand. And that's the whole point of this winery. They were trying to grow really high-end Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and just show that New Zealand can do this type of wine. And this is probably one of the top producers of Chardonnay in New Zealand. Again, I didn't really think New Zealand could produce this type of Chardonnay, and it was just a wonderful experience. In fact, we drank this up pretty quickly. There wasn't very much left. I wish there was more left. My notes on this was it was very oaky and buttery on the nose. So if you blinded me, I don't think I would have guessed it's New Zealand Chardonnay. I might have guessed even Napa Chardonnay. But then when you got to the taste, it was quite, it didn't have that oaky, buttery element of Napa Chardonnay. It was like white peach and flinty on the palate. It almost a cross between a Burgundy and like a white Burgundy, a normal white Burgundy, and a Chablis. So it was kind of very interesting because I love trying to place things, but I really fun thing for me is when I actually can't place it. I gotta say, well, it's like this, but like this also. That's kind of the wine it was. But anyways, it was wonderful because we all drank it up very quickly. My rating of this was 95 points. Next wine probably was a tie between this one and the Champagne as the wine of the night. This is the 2008 Mio Camuzet Cros Parantoux. Cros Parantoux is a premier cru site, very equivalent to the Amoureuse and Chambon-Musigny because it's a premier cru site, but really most people acknowledge that it's like a Grand Cru vineyard site. It's right on top or to the north of Richebourg, and so that's the comparison. There's really only two producers of Cros Parantoux. One is Mio Camuzet, which produces a heavier style, and the other one is Henry Jayer, who is now, his vineyards have been taken over by Stonyridge. And so there's only two producers, and that style's a little bit more floral, if you'd like. But these are just exceptional wines. I still thought it was kind of young. Maybe on hindsight, we should have decanted, but it's just a magnificent wine and has the intensity of Richebourg for sure. So my notes, stylistically heavier than Jayer wine. And it's more like DRC Richebourg, in my opinion. It has dark berries, black currants, and doji berries with a thick mid-palate and a long aftertaste of black pepper and crushed stones. I still think it's youthful and needs another maybe 5 years to really get to its peak, and my rating was 97 points. Next two wines are my contribution to the lunch. A little boring because I was in Hong Kong, didn't have wines there, so I just this one I actually just bought from Watson Wine, I think about 1,400 Hong Kong dollars, about 200 to 250 Canadian dollars, something like that. Thought it was a really good deal for the price. So this is the 1989 Gruaud Larose, a second growth wine from St. Julien region. I believe in those vintages it was 90% Cabernet Sauvignon, 10% Merlot. And we were just discussing, old Gruaud Larose is actually excellent. I've had Gruaud Larose back to the 60s. And in fact, they in the modern age, they've been a little bit more pedestrian. So, it's kind of one of these wineries that has I think a little bit better past than right now, and hopefully they'll grow there. I think you're seeing signs of life too in the last couple of vintages. But, some of their old vintages are quite amazing. For this one, we did not decant. And so it was, in my notes, where it was fully mature. It had cedar and tobacco in the nose, which is expected for Gruaud Larose. Dried blackberries and anise, Asian spice, tobacco on the palate. Fairly standard St. Julien old wines. The 89 vintage, sometimes I can be disappointed with, but I thought this was fine. It was good, but it's ready to drink. I probably could go another 5 to 7 years before it's in decline. My rating was 93 points. Just a word about the food. We were at the Optimist restaurant in Wan Chai. It serves Spanish tapa-style food, great atmosphere. Actually, the owner was one of the owners was part of our group, and you can see by the food, we were treated very well, and the food was very authentic. Next wine was the Malescot St-Exupery 1999. I actually borrowed this wine or took the wine from my sister's collection, so thanks for that. And so anyways, we enjoyed it. 1999 is one of my favorite vintages to drink, pop and open drinking. And so, again, that's the benefit of having wine with other people and knowledgeable people. I thought we should have decanted it. My other people in the group all thought that politely that we shouldn't, and they were right, so we didn't decant it. Is actually surprisingly light from my perspective, because I've seen a lot of 1999s that are actually tasting pretty nice right now, and with a quick decant, they're great. This didn't need a decant. And so Malescot, I think, has one of these wineries where probably in the 1980s to 2000s period, they were experiencing kind of not great years like a lot of Margaux wines, but now all these wines are really producing very well. So it's kind of a historical thing to look back in the past and where it was at, but it's still a lovely wine. My note was surprisingly light from my perspective on the taste profile. We didn't decant. It was medium bodied, dark berries, it was really drinking nicely, but really not very special compared to some of the other wines in this lineup. So my rating was 91 points. Next wine was another wine for our New Zealand wine expert, and it's the Stonyridge 2013 Larose from Waiheke Island. And this is a monster wine. It's a blend of 52% Cabernet Sauvignon, 19% Petit Verdot, 12% Malbec, 12% Merlot, 4% Cabernet Franc, and 1% Carmenere. About 1,240 cases are produced, so it's a very small production. Our friend had double decanted before he got to lunch, but it was still, I think, very youthful and still needed time. So this wine is really big. And again, something I would not have kind of known, that New Zealand can produce these Bordeaux blend wines, and they're so massive. So my notes on this: it was a massive wine after double decanting, dense with violets, black currants, tobacco, licorice, and espresso. It's still a little bit disjointed. It's still quite youthful and probably needs another 7 to 8 years to get to its drinking window. So I rated it 93 points, but I think it will, improve with age. Next wine was from our kind of host, who is the part owner of this restaurant. Is the Gagliole 2013 Pecchia. So this is from the Chianti Classico region, 100% Sangiovese. It is an single vineyard IGT wine. It could probably be classified under Chianti Classico Gran Selezione, but it probably is an older wine, so it probably just wants to keep its label. If it was going to do the UJ, I think it'd be under Pesano region. But it's quite a youthful wine. We probably should have decanted, but we didn't. And, so yeah, probably needs some decanting. Those are ripe cherries and orange peel. I thought the tannin structure was excellent on this wine. Probably could use more decant and a little bit more time, breathing time. I think it'll go another 10 years and drink very nicely for those 10 years. My rating was 91 points. And then we ended the night with something that's not wine. This is the Louis XIII cognac. And my friend, asked me if I know anything about cognac, or wanted to drink some cognac. I said, I'd love to try it. I don't know anything about it. So he said, we got to start with the best then. And so this probably is the top end cognac out there, one of the top end cognacs out there. It's a blend of 1,200 different cognacs that's aged up to, I think, between 40 to 100 years. So real special product, and really enjoyed tasting it, although I'm not sure I know very much about it. But my notes were, it was brown sugar and molasses on the nose, clove, cinnamon, and orange peel with caramel and a smooth finish. I'm not even going to rate the thing because I don't know how to rate cognacs, but it was really special to end with that. All in all, really fun lunch. Learned a lot. Had some great laughs. And this is what wine drinking is about: just sharing knowledge, sharing stories, just enjoying each other's company in the wine. We had a spectacular time. So thanks so much to the guys, particularly my subscriber who hosted this or organized this, but the other guys, I really had a great time with them also. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy drinking.